And that's what we do here. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm Jeff Herring, your host and creator of Story and Strategy Live. And we're broadcasting live from our virtual studios here, many, many, many miles north of Atlanta, Georgia, in the foothills of the North Georgia mountains that I was in yesterday. I was telling Chris, Lynn and I were up there, and I have a policy that when I go hiking, I let somebody know where I am, what trail, what we're going to be doing. I usually let my sons know, but they're both out of town, so I let a buddy know. Lynn and I are getting ready to we were already in the car, getting ready to leave when my buddy John pulls up on his, he's a mountain biker, and he pulls up and like, hi there, where'd you come from? So anyway, it was a nice touch. All right, welcome to Chris Peden, our guest today. Chris and I have done a lot of these together, and Chris, as always, I appreciate you being here, man.
It's always great to talk with you, Jeff. It's always very informative, very helpful to me in my business. So let's get started.
Speaking of your business, just a little thumbnail, a couple sentences of what you do as the Chief Profit Advisor.
Right. So that comes from, I do have my CPA, but when people talk CPA, they think, oh, you can do my tax return. Well, yeah, I can do your tax return, but there's so much more that I can do. I help people because what happens is people get these financial statements, they look at them and go, well, this is all gibberish to me. I'm just going to save this to tax time. But there are things that are happening in there that can help you grow your business and increase the cash. So that's what I do, is help you find ways to take the information in front of you and turn that into cash.
I love it, that all-important cash flow, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit. Now, Chris is one of the people that I'm blessed to have in my mentor program. And several weeks ago now, we were talking in the first session. And Andrew, you're just joining us. Good timing. We're just getting started here. And we're diving in. And Chris and I had some conversation. And one of the things we always look for is, okay, what's the story that's holding you back personally, professionally? And let's change that into a different story and into strategies that help you go further, faster, help you move forward, and help you change what's next in your next chapter. So, Chris, well, tell them what was hanging you up. It'd be better coming from you.
Well, it was a lot of times that I kind of felt that if I was sending out emails or sending out notes, what have you, that I'm going to be bothering people. A lot of this was just, I didn't want to get in front of people. I know Jeff talks about the old belief was you don't email after 9 o'clock. Well, that's phone. I'm not going to answer my email after 9 o'clock. So I don't have that problem. But just sometimes it would just be I just always got the feeling I was annoying people with it. And just younger, I mean, I had great parents, but just, every so often I could be just a little bit too much because you're a kid. So sometimes say, oh, no, you need to stop talking right now. Just when usually it was for a good reason, but just kind of carried that with me a little bit. No fault from my parents, just it's how the kid took it, how this kid took it. That kind of made me stop and go, you know what, you need to be quiet, just don't bother people. So that's kind of where I love it.
From. And when you say kid, at what age do you think that kicked in?
I want to say it's about 4 or 5.
So we're talking about a 50-something-year-old story that's been with you for a long time and influenced your life, obviously. It was so fun to wipe that out and talk about how, you've got something special for people, and it would be wrong not to offer it to them, right? And then, God showed up and said, hey, Chris, there's a calling on your life. Go do this. And boy, you burst on the scene. And we'll get to that in a minute. Oftentimes, though, Chris, it's not just one story that's in the way. We've got layers of stories and other stories. Anything else pop to mind we can show the people how to get rid of?
No, it just, I would say that happened at that age, and just, the teacher's always telling me, okay, you be quiet. And I would drive my friends crazy. He's like, Peden, you need to shut up, what have you, just stop. So that just kind of reinforcement instead of kind of trying to channel everything into something. And, 13-year-old kids are just the meanest people on the face of this earth. So it's just one of those that I
I've
kind of
worked
thought,
with them. Yes, I get it. I've had two of
yeah,
them too. So what I'm hearing there
eh,
is that story that we cleaned up has several layers. It wasn't just your folks. There's teachers, so
yes,
another authority
yeah,
figure, friends, and the older you get, the more influence that has. Okay,
hmm
is that message still in there anywhere from teachers or from friends or anyone else, or do we take care of it completely?
I think it's pretty much gone. Tell you the truth, it's more of a. I mean, I'm thinking about going live myself, next weekend. But it's like, well, it's 4th of July. Is there anybody actually be paying attention to anything outside of the fireworks going up and the beer in their hand?
That could be. And here's the thing, though: there will be people that are out doing stuff, and their phone's going to ping when you go live, and they'll watch. They may show other people, um, and there will be people that don't have anything to do on the 4th of July, and so you become something to do. And my original online mentor, Tom Antion, he wasn't paying attention to what day it was, and he held a teleseminar on Thanksgiving Eve, the evening of Thanksgiving. Yeah, whoops, right? Um, and people showed up and he did great. And then he went, "Oh, it's Thanksgiving." Okay, all right. So, what you do cash flow, and one of the things we talked about is okay. I asked you, can you come up with 7 tips, laws, secrets about cash flow? And that took you about what, 5 minutes after we hung up?
Yeah, pretty much. I just had some fun with it,
Exactly.
just coming up with different things. There's an old story about John Madden when he first started. Is his first job? He was a linebackers
Yeah.
coach, and he had all these drills set up for ready to go for mini camp. And then one guy showed up, so he put them all through all the drills, and the guy nearly died, but he
Well,
made
that
it
he
through
did
there.
just because he
So I was
survived.
like, well, let's do this in
Yeah.
here. Yeah. He said, well, I just kind of took it and said, well, we got this rule. Well, why don't I do this? 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 So I just kept kind of throwing things out there and say, well, this will help. This will help. This will help. Let me do this. So I kind of went nuts a little bit. That's the fun part of doing and creating, is that you can just not do a brain dump, but just put everything out there and say, here's how I can put this into language you understand. I will tell you, I'm not the smartest CPA there is, but I can put things in words that a normal person would understand. That's my
It
gift.
is a gift. It is a gift. And I love your mention of Madden. I can just see him doing that with, with all those sleds or whatever, and going, bam, wow, boom, bah. He
Yep.
and Pat Summerall were so great together. I
Oh,
miss them. And I also miss Frank Gifford, Howard Cosell, and Dandy Don. That was just,
there
it
we
was
go.
crazy. It was crazy. So, folks that are just joining us, like Laura and Sally, we're not here talking about football. We're just talking about stories that fit change. Okay. And so, Chris, if any of those old voices pop up through someone else's voice, just line them up with everybody else and go, "Sorry, thanks for your opinion. Not listening anymore. I'm going over here." And let's compare tax
Exactly.
returns in a year, right? All right. So you came up with those 7 tips, which quickly became 8 content assets, right? How did you get
Correct.
8 from 7 tips?
Well, what I wanted was, I mean, first of all, you do hey, let me give you an overview here of
Right.
what they are. And then you dive a little deeper into each one of them. And then you kind of sum it
Right.
up and just say, look, let me bring this all together here. So how you can use all this and just kind of put it in
So that's
place.
really not.
And the great thing about
That's
it,
really 9
yeah,
content
and the
assets.
thing about it is, yeah. So the thing about it is you can go in there and look at the workbook and go through that. But you know what? You don't need to stop there. Go back to the author. Come back to me and say, hey, I did this. I'd like to dive deep a little more. Hey, I love talking to people. So let's get on a call and chat about it.
What you just said, folks. Watch the replay of this just to get that again, okay? Because I was talking about 8 assets. He created 9. The big picture, and then each separate one, and then the wrap up. I mean, and now all those posts on Substack are interconnected, so it's a beautiful spider web for meeting people. And when you do it right, like you've done, And now, what happened, folks, is he moved from the lead magnet, the giveaway, which is an overview of everything, into making that a $97 ebook. Not ebook, I'm sorry, take that word out. $97 guidebook, the 7 Universal Laws for Cash Flow guidebook. Now, and it's designed, just like Chris said, in a way that somebody's going to go, oh, they're talking to me. I get this. My first class of grad school was in statistics. And I'm like, I got to start this way. And I hate this topic. Walk in, this was 80, so it's not too long after the 70s when that book, Everything You Ever Want to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask, was popular. Well, Ken Brewer, the professor, had written a textbook in paperback that said everything you ever want to know about statistics but were afraid to ask. And he put it in regular language. Okay. And folks, when you do that, people want more. And so Chris is going to get people wanting more than the guidebook. And we're already set up, folks, for what's next. Okay. We're set up for a course. We're set up for a membership, and whatever else we do with it. Now, once I always say I can make this harder for you, but why? Once you got it, once you started building, how fast did all this happen?
Well, I did make use of AI to help me with a little bit. I call my AI Money Penny for those James Bond fans out there. And you know what? I'm going to start a big debate here. I think the one with Daniel Craig was the best Money Penny. So it's just okay. We can start a debate here on that, but she was the best looking, what have you. But Money Penny's taking all of my stuff, and I just kind of went to town and say, well, can you throw this in? Can you throw this in? Can you throw this in? Make this, make this, make this. And I pretty much just kind of let it go on, I guess it was a Saturday morning, just kind of bam, 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 bam. My kid had on cartoons, and I was just sitting with him while he's watching some cartoons, and I just popped everything out for each one of them.
Brilliant. I love it. I love it. And so you didn't have to crawl into an attic and slave for days over that. You built it watching cartoons with your kid. Okay.
Yes.
And what helped with that, folks, is Chris had a framework. Okay. And what we did is we took his topic and broke it down into sections. Now, it can be 5, it can be 7, it doesn't have to be any number. And, there were, you could call them laws, like we did, universal laws, secrets, tips, points, mistakes, and what to do differently, whatever you want to call them. Okay. For this one, 7 universal laws for cash flow just fit well. That by itself pulls me in. Okay. And so one of the things you want to think about, folks, is, okay, what's my framework? How am I doing this? Because what most people do, and I don't want you to be most people, because Chris, as you know, most people are broke. We don't want that for you. Most people will create some content and then maybe realize they need to create some products. Sit down in front of a blank screen and go, huh. And, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months later, it ain't done. Maybe not even started. Okay. So part of what we do in story and strategy is provide the strategy of a framework. Okay. And right now that framework, Chris, is guiding you in everything you do, not just the future course, not just the future membership, but when you sit down and you want to write a post, when you sit down and you want to do a note, you've got 7 categories in your framework to choose from, right? When you pop up like you do live on Substack, same thing. Which of the 7 am I going to talk about today? You have to do it in order. Today, do 1, and 7 days from. No, you don't have to do that. They're all good, right? You could rearrange the order, and they're still all good, right? What?
Absolutely.
What was the psychological, emotional benefit of having this made in a framework and made simple and powerful at the same time? What was that like?
Well, I kind of was watching the old movie Forrest Gump a little while back, and there's a section in there where uh, he's at boot camp and he's putting together
Yeah.
the gun, and he does it in record time. And he said, "Gun drill sergeant," and he runs over and goes, "Gump, how'd you put that gun together so fast?" "You told me, drill sergeant." And so we had a framework there. The drill sergeant told him how to put the gun together. Gump just put it and said, "Bam, bam, 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 boom," all together. So the framework makes it easier for you to sit down and just go through the steps. It's kind of like a recipe. You don't have to guess. I mean, as long as the pages don't stick together, you're going to be okay.
I absolutely love that story or that example. And do you know the story behind where Tom Hanks got that accent?
I do not.
What they started off was, he was going to pick one from a kid he talked to and make it his own, right? Okay. And so that wasn't working. He was going to make it his own and then teach it to the other kids, right? Welcome, Jimmy, and everybody else that's just joining us. We're using Forrest Gump as an example here and telling a story about it. And so he had a framework in mind, right? Well, it wasn't working. He couldn't figure out what to say. And so one day he interviewed this kid from, I think it was Memphis or Mississippi, somewhere in there. And the kid came in and he said, what's your dad do? And he goes, he makes products. And well, okay, where are the products? Yeah, what are the products for? For grease and oil and all kinds of products. And Tom Hanks went, I'm becoming him. That's the voice. I'm doing that. And that kid was actually one of the guy with the braces on his legs, dancing with Elvis. And so, yeah, the framework changed. Okay. Now, what most people would have done was force that framework. But Tom Hanks, he had the creds to do this. Went to whoever the director was, I forget who, and said, listen, this isn't working. Trust me. Okay. Let me find the accent, and boom. And it was all done that day. Okay. So folks, change your framework. You get to change your life. You can change your business. Okay. And this is one of the main frameworks, simple frameworks we provide, because I like simple and powerful. And this has taken you a ways already. I just love it. I just love it. So right now the focus is on selling that $97 guidebook, right? And folks, since we're focused on that, here's what you do. Okay. Chris is over on Gumroad. Okay. All you got to do is go over there and look up Chris Peden, Peden, Chris Peden, and you will find the 7 universal laws for cash flow. See, Chris been with me a while. He's trained. He put that link in there right away. Good man. Boom. Go grab that thing. Great investment. I've looked through it. I've learned stuff, and it's. I don't think that way. Okay, my brain doesn't think that way, and it made sense to me to use. So go grab that thing, and then when you go through it and use it and think, I want more. Okay, there's ways in there to contact Chris because there's more coming. A course, membership, maybe a mastermind. I think we talked about it one time.
They're all in the works.
Yeah. And so most people online have scattered piles of junk. Okay. I usually use another 4-letter word, but I'm trying to clean up the language. Scattered piles of junk. Okay. And they try to fit them all together. What was it like to have the framework to come up with the 7 parts and then use that for all these different organized piles of transformation?
Well, I kind of Spider-Man'd my way through that. Just you're starting here and then can get and pop and swing the next and pop to the next and just kind of go through it. And you have the kind of the whole city in front of you, and you can just kind of choose. Well, I've got this. Let me pull this in. Let me pull this in. So it kind of all kind of came together when you started from that one point and just kind of went out. So you had, they tell you in sports, kind of get a good solid stance. I had my good solid stance and then could reach for other things.
Oh my goodness, you said that well. So folks, if you've liked what Chris has to say and you'd like that transformation of things that are in the way and a framework, that's what we do here on this show. Now, if you want to be sitting in Chris's seat, in the the guest seat, not in his home right now, here's where you go: jeffherring.com/SSL. And SSL just stands for what? Story and Strategy Live. jeffherring.com/SSL. And that will be in tomorrow's replay that comes out on Substack. And that and other ways to get involved, get on the show. And we deal with both things. With Chris, we did a belief story that was in his way about a lot of things. Okay. And then we also gave him the strategies for building this business. Okay. So I've learned that those go together. Okay. I haven't yet met a creator that didn't have some story in the way. And I also work with people that there's just a story about anxiety, about relationships, about self-esteem, about stress that they got somewhere and they're believing, and it runs their life. And what we do here is help you identify those stories, whether it's life or business or both, and then change them into strategies that change what happens next. Okay. So again, if you want to be part of that, jeffherring.com/SSL. Chris, as always, sir, thank you very much. I can't wait to watch what you're going to do. Thank you again.
Yes, sir, Jeff. It's always a pleasure, and I'm always available to come on. So just drop me a line.
That's smart. That's shrewd what he just did there, folks. One of the ways I got on radio so much when I was a therapist was I'd say to them before or after the show, I said, hey, you ever get in a tight space where you don't have a guest or somebody bails on you, call me up. If I'm available, we'll do it. And I had so many things turn out that way. So yay. Before we wrap up, Chris, any questions?
No, I think I'm good. Just anyone listening, thank you for joining, and I'm happy to talk with anyone. Follow me and just say, hey, Chris, follow me back. Happy to see what everybody's coming up with. Let's build a community. I worked in corporate for a number of years, and by taking action, I was able to, when the time came for layoffs, I was able to just transition over. And hey, I'm 55, I'm transitioning again, but I'm probably going to keep transitioning. Maybe 75, maybe I'll do what Jeff does and or was doing, become a therapist. Who knows? Fun. So we'll see.
You've already got some of those gifts because you've worked with people over their money. That's probably harder than anything I've ever done. So again, thanks for being here. And folks, thank you for being here. A lot of places you could have been online. You chose to be with us, and always grateful for that. Welcome everybody that joined us, including another student, Lorenzo. Hey, buddy, good to see you. And folks, we'll be back here next week with another story to change, a framework to build, and a difference to make. And it could be yours at jeffherring.com/SSL. Like how I slid into that. That was, I went to Segway school. All right, folks, thanks for being with us. And as always, you know what to do. Go use this stuff, and we'll catch you next time.